Today on the CTV News at 5, emotions continue to run high in Fort Macleod. What impact will the decision to scrap a police training center have on businesses in the community? Plus, tougher rules on drinking and driving are on their way, what police are saying about the impending changes. And Lethbridge Hurricanes camp continues. He missed last year due to a concussion. Now this forward is trying to get his job back.
CTV News with Daryl Rummel.
Good afternoon. The community of Fort Macleod is still reeling after the government's decision to pull the funding for a police college in the town. The mayor says the move will have a significant economic impact in the community. Alicia Fieldberg reports.
It's devastating to our whole community. Businesses, individuals, everybody. It honestly feels like a death.
Residents of Fort Macleod are mourning the province's decision to back out of creating a $122 million police training college in the town. This mortgage broker says she's devastated for her business and her family. Her sister in Scotland bought a home here recently in hopes of moving to a bustling town.
I think it's the same for everybody. I mean, we really had hopes that this was going to go through and all of our businesses were going to flourish. And I mean, so people actually prepared.
This car dealership invested $6 million into a new building just north of the police college site. Though staff say the expansion wasn't motivated by the college, the design was based on the expected population increase.
Well, obviously, we try to put our dealership in the most strategic place, and that being at the junction of where the police college is going to be. And obviously, we're very disappointed.
People have, perhaps planned around this. Local businesses have expanded capacity, taking the government at its word that, we've awarded the contract, we're going to build this.
The police college project was delayed several times since the province announced it 6 years ago, but gained steam last month when builders were awarded the contract, unveiled designs, and started construction preparations. The town's invested $4 million into the project and has half done a service line upgrade to accommodate the college. Residents say they're not ready to give up, but if the decision isn't reversed, they're looking into all options to mitigate their losses.
There are clauses in there, obviously, which we'll be looking to evoke. And after that, it'll be on the advice of our solicitor in terms of how we deal with it from there. There's a moral aspect to this that I find slightly more than appalling.
Although the province is saying the decision is irreversible, the mayor is still hoping to meet with the premier. In the meantime, town council is looking into their legal options. Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Fort Macleod.
Meantime, a political scientist says she doesn't believe the move to pull funding from the police college was based on the Wildrose election. By the election of a Wildrose MLA in the last provincial election. Lori Williams says the promise made by the previous government put the current government in a tough spot, but adds the timing doesn't make sense. She says the college may be important to the town of 3,000 people, but it doesn't appear to line up with the new vision of the Redford government.
When Ed Stelmach revived it as one of his promises as he left, he bound the incoming government, put them in a bit of an awkward position. And I think it's just there's no political payoff. There's no benefit to the government for retaining it, especially in light of the fact that, from all accounts, it looks like the chiefs of the Calgary and Edmonton police and even the RCMP question whether it's really necessary.
The town is currently considering legal action. Alberta is sinking further into deficit. Lower revenue has the government headed for a $3 billion deficit. This morning, the government released its numbers for the first quarter. Revenue has decreased by $400 million, partly because of lower oil royalties. If revenues continue to remain low, the province says it will tighten its belt further. Finance Minister Doug Horner says he plans to deliver a balanced budget by 2013-2014. And Dory Rossiter is off today, so we have Steve Rothfels filling in. Steve, what's the weekend look like for us?
Daryl, would you believe we have one more 30-degree day coming our way before summer ends, and that'll be tomorrow. And even the whole long weekend looks pretty good if you like sunshine. And we'll have all the details on the upcoming weekend just a little bit later in the show. Daryl.
Thank you, Steve. A man convicted of killing his wife's lover is appealing his manslaughter conviction. In May, Derek Plourde was found guilty of the death of George English and sentenced to 5 years behind bars. In September 2009, Plourde and English got into a fight at English's cabin west of Coleman. Plourde had driven to the cabin in the middle of the night and found his wife in bed with his friend. The two got into a fight and English died from a stab wound to his neck. Plourde claims he acted in self-defense, but the judge in the case has ruled that out. His lawyer, Greg White, says no date has been set for the appeal hearing. Friends and family of a 23-year-old Medicine Hat nursing student presumed dead gathered in Bow Island this afternoon to honor her life. Meanwhile, the man charged in her death was back in court today. 34-year-old Jarrison Stepanski is charged with second-degree murder in the death of Amy Lewis. His case is set over till September 13th. Lewis hasn't been seen since June 11th. Despite a massive search, her body has never been found, but police in Medicine Hat say they have evidence that Lewis is deceased. Medicine Hat police are investigating after a body was found inside a burning apartment complex. The fire broke out last night. Police say the victim is believed to be the only person inside the suite at the time. No name has been released. An 11-year-old boy has died after he fell while playing on trusses that support Canyon Bridge west of Creston, just off Highway 3. Police and firefighters were called to the scene just after 5 o'clock. Mounties say 3 boys were climbing around the trusses when one slipped off and fell between 40 and 60 feet to the ground below. The name of the boy has not been released. The death is now being investigated by the BC Coroner's Service. Police do not suspect foul play. The family of a man murdered in Brooks is pleading once again for the public's help. 26-year-old John Terrace was shot in his home in November 2009. Police later received a handwritten note saying it was self-defense, but Terrace's family says it was a home invasion, with 2 armed intruders shooting and stabbing John. While they admit he'd had some trouble with drugs in the past, they have no idea why anyone would want their son dead. They're asking anyone with information to come forward. They say having closure will help them heal. Meanwhile, RCMP and East Kootenay are asking for the public's help in identifying 2 suspects in a break-and-enter and bank card fraud. Earlier this month, police say 2 men broke into Cranbrook Dodge and a bank card was taken along with its PIN number. Police found the footprint of a sneaker at the scene. Later, the card was used in 16 transactions at the Cranbrook Superstore. Over $8,700 in electronics, food, and cash were obtained with the card. They also say baby food was purchased. The RCMP are hoping someone watching will be able to identify these suspects pictured.
Again, we're looking probably for a male and female in their mid-20s. Possibly the male is wearing an Airwalk sneaker and they may or may not have a small child or know someone that has a baby that they're purchasing these items for.
Anyone with information is asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. Officials in Medicine Hat continue to work towards controlling their rat problem. The City of Medicine Hat, Cypress County, and Agriculture and Rural Development staff continue to work closely to isolate and eliminate all rats that have been found in the area, including the city's landfill. So far, 111 rats have been found at the landfill, 17 in the county, and 18 inside city limits. Lethbridge police are hoping stiffer impaired driving penalties will help create safer roads. As of September 1st, a driver with blood alcohol concentration between 0.05 and 0.08 will immediately receive a 3-day license suspension and a 3-day vehicle seizure. If they're caught blowing over again, the length of suspension and seizure will increase and they'll be forced to complete an education course. In the past, the same blood alcohol concentration would have resulted in a 24-hour license suspension.
As the province is hoping will be the effect all over, is that we're going to have safer roads. We're going to have people that are becoming responsible drivers. They're going to take responsibility for their actions and monitoring how much they're having to drink and make a determination whether or not they're safely going to be able to operate their vehicle home at the end of the day.
Stiffer penalties for drivers caught with a blood alcohol content over 0.08 came into effect July 1st. Since then, the province says about 1,000 people have had their licenses suspended indefinitely and more than 600 vehicles have been seized. There's still a few days of summer holidays left for most students, but teachers got a back-to-school pep talk this morning. Motivational speaker Alvin Law gave the keynote address to the Lethbridge School District staff today. Law was born without arms after his mother used thalidomide for relief of morning sickness. Since 1976, he's helped raise more than $150 million for charity. He's also appeared in international television as a speaker, actor, and subject of award-winning documentaries. Law's speech motivated staff.
For us as teaching and as a core of teachers. We always love to hear the positive messages at the beginning of the year so that we can give that message to our students. And again, Alvin's a great person with great stories, and I think we'll gain a lot from him this year and move on.
Students in Lethbridge will head back to class on Tuesday. Meantime, TELUS is helping ease some of the financial strain that comes with going back to school for Lethbridge families. 180 students will receive free backpacks filled with school supplies in time to start the new school year. The initiative is part of the TELUS Kits for Kids program, which distributes thousands of backpacks to young students in need across the country. The Canadian Pediatric Society wants changes made to the way ATV rules are placed, including a ban on drivers under 16. The Society says ATVs are not safe for children because they don't have the knowledge or strength to operate vehicles safely. The Society says over 400 Canadian children are hospitalized each year for ATV-related injuries. The doctors group also wants to make helmet use of the vehicles compulsory along with training courses. They'd also like to see the laws restrict ATV drivers from carrying passengers. Another person has died from Legionnaire's disease in Quebec City. 9 people have died in the last month, and there are 141 cases of the disease in the Quebec capital. Legionnaire's bacteria exists in stagnant water in the cooling systems of buildings. More than 100 buildings in Quebec City have had their cooling systems disinfected. Now, as we go to break, let's take a look at today's closing numbers.